Howdy. So, what do the English punk rock band The Clash, Steinbeck, and Camus have in common? Probably not much, except the three things I've been thinking about a lot lately. It starts with the song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? It's been asked a lot lately. I've seen it all over the socials and even on the major networks. Wealthy people with the means and the connections are fleeing the country. No, they're not fleeing, but they are definitely running. They're running from something they don't want to go through. It's tempting. I don't have the means or the connections, so it's not something I could do if I wanted to. But I've been thinking about it. What would I do if I could? And then I heard this podcast from Philosophize This by Stephen West. He did it's about 20 minutes. I really recommend listening to it. It's on The Plague by Albert Camus. And in that story, if you're not familiar, there's a port town that gets infested by plague-ridden rats. Apparently they came off one of the boats. And the way the town reacts to this reveals underlying philosophies. And there's the ultimate point, I think, is in Camus' advice on dealing with the absurdity of life. I think that we are in a pretty absurd moment right now where the decisions being made with all of our pooled resources are not taking into account the effects on all of us. So the majority of the citizens in America right now are disenfranchised and not represented. So this is a very chaotic time, and it's going to get more chaotic because there's no mechanism to stop what's happening right now. It looks like it's just going to play out. Things are going to fall apart, and then we're going to have to put them back together. So that feels like a plague that we're dealing with right now. It's a philosophical plague that we as a country that enough of us were able to decide to put people in power that are focused on extracting more power more than governing justly. I don't want to get into the other side-isms. I know that the system of government we had before the current administration was not 100% governing justly. I'm not even sure it was 50% governing justly, but it wasn't falling apart. I don't know if tearing it apart is essential to rebuild something better. I don't think so. I think there's smarter ways to manage transitions. But it's not up to me. This is the position we're in right now. So in Albert Camus' book, there were different characters, and they represent different strategies for dealing with these types of situations. What really stood out to me was the character that decided to make money off of smuggling people and goods. I believe it was mostly just smuggling people out, but it might have been goods in as well. But through this tragic, chaotic time, there were people whose main focus was how to profit off of the situation. There were other people there was a doctor, I believe, wanted to keep being helpful, to do the work that was in front of him. I think there were other people near the doctor that just wanted to run away. And some of them did, but some of them were persuaded by the doctor to stay and help. That brings me to reminded me of East of Eden in Steinbeck's book. There's a character who is his servant, I believe. It's Mr. Lee. I think they called him a Chinaman in the book. Well, they get to talking. The main character, I believe it's Cain, they're talking about the Bible and about the phrase "thou shalt," and that the Hebrew word timshel is more accurately translated into "thou mayest." And I think that that's a really important distinction, that our existence is a choice, that we are not bound to behave in a certain way. We have to choose our behaviors and our actions. So thou mayest implies thou mayest not. And I think that's where we are with our decision time, with our philosophical plague. We could turn to religion and see what it wants us to do. I don't find much guidance there myself. To me, it seems obvious that there are people in distress around me, and the humane thing to do is to help them. I know I'm speaking from a place of privilege because I'm not in enough distress to run away, and I don't know how close I'll get, but I think the right thing to do is to stay and help where I'm helpful. So, check in with your neighbors. Be a strong member of your community if you can. If you're privileged like me and you still have a home and plenty of food and a loving family, these are all amazing resources that a lot of people don't have. And quite possibly there's people very near you that could use some help. Maybe a little bit of time, attention, maybe some food or some labor. But whatever you can spare, please find a place that it's useful. I'm not sure what the best way to phrase this is, but it's something like, the government needs us to survive, but we don't need the government. The government is a collection of all of our resources. So if we don't feed the beast, and instead we feed our neighbors, in the end, I think everything will work out. All right. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a beautiful day.